Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from Sherwood Forest in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, Hour 1 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I am your lovable, huggable, mid-morning chat host, Eric Von Haessler. The other voices you hear are the Doctrinaires, Tim Andrews, Autumn Fisher, and of course, the handsome but humble Jared Yamamoto.
And I'm cleaning up coffee. I just spit out a ton of coffee all over my laptop and my show sheets and everything.
Was it a physical thing that happened, or did you laugh at something, or what happened?
I was reading something, and it kind of started going down the wrong tube.
He said it went down the wrong tube.
It went down the wrong tube. There's only one tube. My mother used to, be careful, you don't want it to go down the wrong tube. What's the wrong tube?
There's a trachea and an esophagus.
There's two tubes.
But I've been alive 55 years. I never had a problem with it. Nothing ever went the wrong tube.
You have a good epiglottis then.
Oh, okay. So I actually...
Don't epiglottis shame him.
I was going to say, maybe it's... I got to check my esophageal privilege. Is that what I have to do?
Check it.
Check it. I'm checking it.
Just
okay.
because you have a big uvula.
Yeah. My mom never explained
So
it. It is. It's very large. I don't want to brag. But I have got a very large uvula,
I know.
whatever that is. Is that the thing that dangles in the back
It's
here?
the hangy ball.
Yeah, the little hangy thing. It's sometimes it gets larger, which bothers me, and then
Uvulitis.
Yeah, I get a little bit of uvulitis sometimes, but it takes care of itself. No need to go see a doctor.
He's got a lot of uvulosity.
Listen, from here to the end of the day, do I have the uvulosity? People have said that about me. We have researchers who come in and they do research on the show, and they came back with just that. I have the most uvulosity of any other talk show host in not only Atlanta, it turns out America.
I don't understand though. Your uvula is always bruised.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
I don't know how that
a lot of talking.
I don't know how that happens either. I don't even want to look into it. I don't think anybody should look into it.
I don't think the research goes deep enough in that. If you know,
I would say it does.
There is some bruising.
Like that one.
I can't explain the bruising. There is some bruising. And this Jared Yamamoto, who around the place, he's one of these kids, whenever he goes to see something, it's all he talks about. Mm. I guess he saw Wicked. So,
I did,
I know, yesterday.
It's Wicked. It's the greatest thing. It's better than The Wizard of Oz.
It's The Wizard of Oz from the witch's point of view, and she falls in love with the scarecrow.
Is that what happens?
Kind
of.
It's
a huge show. I've never heard one song from it.
The music's great.
Yeah, she knows. She's a Broadway girl there. She's a Broadway gal.
And you never seen Wicked before?
Broadway girl!
Yeah. But she doesn't know the music from Wicked.
You've never seen Wicked before?
Is there anything as good as I don't know, Somewhere Over the Rainbow?
Yeah, I'd say.
No, absolutely
It's one of the most classic songs of all time. You're telling me there's classic songs of all time. I've just never heard them.
The song right before intermission is incredible.
Is that
and I'm blanking on the name.
Right before intermission.
Yeah. You're going to wait in line for the bathroom ladies.
Anything in there about Frank Baum and the whole book being about the silver and the gold?
Oh, no. Is that your conspiracy theory?
Oh, no. It's what it's about.
Oz is O-Z. That's ounce.
Yeah.
And it's all the good Yellow Brick Road. It's all about what was it? The world economy in some way.
Cocaine Railroad.
That's what it was.
It was a silver brick road in the original book.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I didn't read the original book. Those original Wizard of Oz books are very strange and somewhat cruel.
Yeah,
and
they are.
If you look at the story, it's only the happy music. You strip the happy music out of Wizard of Oz, which is kind of a amalgam of a few of those different books, and it's a very cruel story.
That's true. They killed that witch. You know, it's like, he's most certainly dead.
Or do they?
Well, they have a. Is that
no one likes your revisionist.
He's got the Wicked thing going.
Woke.
No, a couple. They tried to make a couple. They made a movie in the '80s that was a sort of a sequel or was part of that, and people were like, "This is horrible. It's dark." And I watched it, and I couldn't believe how dark it was. But then I went and looked, and that was closer to the actual stories than the movie The Wizard of Oz, which has all those happy songs that make you feel good. Yes.
The song that is up there with Somewhere Over the Rainbow is called Defying Gravity. It is
okay, let me
electric.
ask you something.
And I had never heard it live
Over the Rainbow has been sung by countless singers for the last, when did it come out, 39? So since 1939, this thing we're almost getting to, it's like 80-some years. Every singer of note has sung that song because it's such a great song. Are you telling me that, what was it, Velocity?
Defying Gravity.
Defying Gravity? Are you telling me that in 50 years, people will be singing this song like over? Well, why are they singing it now? I've never seen Hamilton, but I know that stupid, I'm not gonna miss my shot.
Well, because Hamilton uses the same 4 songs, and they just redo it every time.
No, it's not cool like Wicked.
You like Wicked better.
He's never even seen The Wiz, I bet.
I liked
Have
Hamilton.
you ever seen The Wiz?
I've never seen The Wiz.
Well, then it's not worth speaking to you.
Oh, Jared, I want you to get on down the road.
I'm sorry.
Ease on down.
It's hard to compare Hamilton with Wicked because they're so different.
Yeah.
They're both beautiful in their own ways.
Are they both relatively new Broadway shows?
Yeah.
They probably both suck. Let's do this.
Headlines for Thursday, November 14th.
All right. I don't listen to WSB to hear Broadway reviews.
I do.
We have a new audience. We're bringing everybody in.
Reporting live from the Broadway news desk. It's artificial.
That's not every Broadway. It's more like 1935 movies.
The Ethel Merman?
Yeah. What about Superman?
Classic.
What about Spider-Man? That was forgettable.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Ray Cromartie was executed last night at the Georgia Diagnostic and Classification Prison in Jackson, Georgia.
Yeah, he shot a clerk in the face 25 years ago, and they walked away with a 12-pack of beer. Now, I guess they tried to get the cash register open, but they couldn't. And so they killed a man for a 12-pack of beer. So, but here's the thing, and maybe it'll upset some listeners, but I've been thinking about the death penalty lately. And I've never had a problem with the ultimate. Like if there's 50 witnesses and somebody killed, look, if you take a person's life in cold blood, and then I think that the only punishment that matches that is that you lose your life. It's the only way. But over the last year or so, just watching the way that courts work and how these things play out, I'm really getting to the point now where I think I'm starting to turn around on the death penalty. Not because of that I think it's fine. This guy shot somebody in the face for a case of beer. You should lose your life over that. I don't have a problem with that idea. But I'm having a problem with the court. As I get older, prosecutors and their ways really are starting to bother me more and more. I don't like the fact that the death penalty in any way is used as a bargaining chip. So maybe what I should say is, if we do have a death penalty, it should never be a bargaining chip that prosecutors can use and put on the table and make somebody turn against. The death penalty is the ultimate. You either deserve the death penalty or you don't. And if a prosecutor thinks that someone deserves the death penalty, then put on your big boy pants. You got to go to work, and you have to convince a jury that they need to come down with this. I'm starting to, when it's not even just death penalty cases. This started this year with, remember that case in Gwinnett where the mother and the father both killed the kid in the cage, but the father cooperated, and he doesn't get the death penalty. The mother didn't cooperate, and she does. They both did it. They both did it. Just by the fact that the father lived there and the kid was in a cage, and he didn't do anything about it. They both were responsible for the death of this girl, but because of the way that they dealt with prosecutors, one gets the death penalty and one doesn't. I just don't like, I don't like what I'm seeing from prosecutors. This is not a death penalty case, obviously, but what's going on in California with the college admissions scandal, where depending on how hard you make the prosecutors work, that will affect how much prison time you do. Now, you get some of these actors, Felicity Huffman, she did 14 days because she just pleaded guilty and made it easy on the prosecutors. Now, the lady from Full House, Lori Loughlin, Oh, my goodness. She demanded her constitutional rights to a trial by jury in front of because she's stating, I want my constitutional rights. Well, okay, but if we win, you know that other lady did 14 days for essentially doing that? We're going to go for 45 years. Now, why do they put 45 years on the table? To make you maybe not demand your constitutional rights. So it's really because as I get older, I used to always see the prosecutors as the good guys or gals.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I now see them as very ruthless and not caring. And I think in the same way that defense lawyers go to sleep at night knowing that they have allowed guilty people, they've been part of guilty people actually being on the streets, I think a good, quote-unquote, good prosecutor with a long career goes to bed at night knowing, mostly good, but, a couple of people were probably railroaded, whether or not it was death penalty or not. And I'm just not digging that at all. You should not, if I'm accused of a crime, I am 100% absolutely innocent until the state goes through what they need to go through to prove me guilty. And I don't think that they should be able to bargain away we'll make it easier on you if you make it easier on us. Now, maybe that's going to go on in lower cases, but when it comes to the death penalty, I don't like the idea that it can be used as a bargaining chip. I guess if that was changed, so I have to say, whether people like it or not, I'm a libertarian. That means a distrust of the government. You know, you wonder what Republicans who say government can't do anything right, but willing to hand the decision to take somebody's life.
Worked in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I really, that's the point for me. At 55 years of age and looking at the scene, if you murder somebody in cold blood, morally speaking, I have nothing wrong. I have no problem with the idea of being the only punishment that matches that. You took a life, you lose your life. I get that. I don't really have any problems with it. But you have a situation where it depends on how good the prosecutor to the defense. Remember the guy who broke free and shot the judge and killed him in front of everybody? That guy didn't get the death penalty.
Brian Nichols?
Yeah, they tried, but they couldn't, right? I don't know at some point if they took it off the table, but they tried and they couldn't. So it's not, if that guy doesn't get the death penalty, you can't say that this system is working properly. There was a courtroom full of people who saw him shoot and kill the judge. But because the defense lawyer must have been better than the prosecution or some kind of things that went on behind the scenes, that guy didn't get the death penalty. That and what happened in Gwinnett and a non-death penalty case, just looking at prosecutors in California or the federal, it's a federal case in California about this scandal. I'm not loving prosecutors in general so much that I'm willing to say, yeah, you should have this, because I think a prosecutor will use it and use it and use it, and in a 25-year career maybe think, maybe somebody got it the wrong way, because prosecutors, once they decide, they're hell-bent on getting you, and they're going to do everything they can. But I just think it's absolutely wrong in this system that if you demand your rights to make it difficult on the state or the federal government to prove you guilty, that's your right. Why should that be something that's negotiated away? And when you add the death penalty, I just can't get. So this guy, I think he's a scumbag. And I have no problem with the state taking his life when you look at it just like that. But overall, when you look at this society and how the courts are working in terms of this, I think I'm changing my mind on. It's not, when you walk away, don't think Eric von Haessler changed his mind on the death penalty. Think of it this way. Eric von Haessler is changing his mind on whether he's willing to give the government that power because of what he sees and how they work. And this Lori Loughlin is going to go to jail for like 6 months or a year when somebody else went to jail for 14 days. Why? because Lori Loughlin demanded her constitutional rights. I know that's not a death penalty case, but the death penalty is used as a bargaining chip. If you want to get me back on board with the death penalty, it cannot be used as a bargaining chip. Prosecutors either decide that this person deserves a death penalty, and if they do, like I said, wake up early, start percolating the coffee. It's going to be a harder case. You have to convince 12 citizens in a jury box that the state should put this person to death. But there should be no shortcuts, and you shouldn't be able to use the threat of the death penalty to make a case easier. Next story.
The big impeachment show was yesterday, guys.
Oh, boy.
And diplomat.
Wait, hold on. What are they talking about? They were talking. Bobby De Niro, help me.
Impeachment inquiry.
Yeah, that's what it was. The impeachment inquiry.
And diplomat George Kent's blue water bottle was trending during the hearings.
This is a few signs. I didn't watch a second of it. By the way, around here, we made the decision to only put that on AM 750 and keep our regular programming on the FM side. And there's some worry about that. Like, what if we missed the big story or whatever? Boy, after the first few hours, I know everybody here felt very comfortable about the decision not to run it on the FM because it was apparently horribly boring. So Eric, you didn't watch it. So how do you know? Well, there's a few things, and we don't have a lot of time here. We'll get into it when we get back, but. Wall Street had a good day. That means they were watching it. They didn't see a whole heck of a lot that was going to change anything. And one of the biggest stories of the day was the water bottle and the bow tie the guy with the water bottle was wearing. That tells me a whole lot of news wasn't made yesterday, but we'll get into it a little deeper.
Irreverent. Entertaining.
Gut-busting. Very funny. And doesn't toe any party line.
I think it's a great show.
The Von Haessler Doctrine on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All right.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
This is the song you think is... This is the song... All right, I get it. This is the song you think is as good as Over the Rainbow from the original Wizard of Oz. This is from Wicked. That song.
It's up there.
No, it's not.
It's hard.
Even
it's
in the
hard
same
because
It's not in the same universe.
Wicked is a part of Wizard of Oz, so you have to put it in.
Here's the beautiful thing. I could play Somewhere Over the Rainbow to somebody who's never read the books, seen any of the movies, or anything, and they would go, wow, that's a beautiful song. That sounds like 7 different songs from Rent or 9 other Broadway.
It could be Rent. It could be any of that
Cats
stuff.
or what's the Fantastics? That's not. You know what? How do you get a person to understand the difference between quality and
I'm not saying
crap?
I dislike Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I'm
I
just
didn't
telling
say
you, Defying
did.
Gravity is very good.
That is not in the class. That's not
It's
even
subjective, and so you can't.
No, it's somewhat subjective.
I know, I agree with you, but I'm just saying.
It's not really subjective. That song he was just playing sounds like something I would hear while I'm walking through Macy's department store from one section to the other.
It's Christmas Day, and we're all buying things.
This is, are the credits to the latest Hallmark Christmas movie playing?
It's not like that. No, it goes much
Welcome
harder
to
than that.
AMC Movie Radio. Before the film, we play the worst song.
We got more stuff. We'll talk about impeachment, I guess, but not. We'll do it in the next hour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit next. I don't know. I'm going to make it up as I go along. How about that? My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a 6-minute argument between me and Jared about that stupid
Thank
song.
goodness the mics weren't open.
I was
No.
saying very mean things.
Oh, my goodness.
All that being said, he's still arguing that this song from Wicked is going to be every bit as great as Over the Rainbow.
I think it is.
I tried to explain to him. All that being said, did you know this little piece of trivia? Over the Rainbow was almost cut from the movie Wizard of Oz. Became very close. It had to be saved, had to be put back in.
And as a kid, too, the best song is "We're Off to See the Wonderful Wizard of Oz."
It might be that when you're a kid, you like some of the other songs better, but it's that song Over the Rainbow. This was the example, Autumn, that I used for him. He's trying to say that this song, Defying Gravity from Wicked, is going to be every bit. I said, okay, that movie came out in 1939. Jared Yamamoto, what year were you born?
I was born in 1989.
How old were you when you knew about the song Over the Rainbow?
Probably 93 or 94.
So you were 4 years old.
Probably.
Kids being born today within the first 3 to 4 years of their lives will be exposed to Over the Rainbow. My only argument is, as good as Defying Gravity might be within the Wicked play, it's not going to do that. It's not going, and kids usually reject stuff from the past. And I'll remind you that Over the Rainbow is sung during the black and white section of Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Which is probably why they wanted to cut it. They wanted to get...
It's boring.
Well, there
to the
are
fun
some
stuff.
problematic parts of Wizard of Oz, so maybe the next generation that's coming up would be more inclined to watch Wicked because Wicked fixes those
People
problems.
are getting dumber and dumber, so I don't necessarily disagree with that. Let's do this.
Hi, it's Paul Stanley, and this is Paul Stanley Presents, the latest in music and entertainment news, only on the Von Haessler Doctrine.
Paul
That's right.
Stanley,
I'm sorry.
great member of KISS.
The best member of KISS.
Well, you and Gene kind of own the group,
Well, I'm
right?
the king of the nighttime world.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. Can't take that away from you. Paul Stanley, he promises America that even though he just added 75 dates, that this is the final farewell of KISS forever. It's about their third farewell tour. But you say, when this next 75 are done, you're actually done. And Paul Stanley came to me and said, I have a life after KISS coming up, and I think I'd like to be an entertainment reporter. So we thought we'd give him a shot here.
I think I'd like to be in Wicked. It sounds awesome.
You might want to be in Wicked.
I could be the Wicked Witch.
You could be.
You kind of got that look, I got to say.
What are you saying? I look like a witch? Like an old crow?
No,
Is that what you're
but
saying?
you put a little makeup
People
on.
age, you know.
I'm not shaming you at all,
Listen
Paul
to you
Stanley.
age shaming me.
I'm not age shaming
You know what,
at
though?
all.
I don't care because I've had a lot more ladies than you could even imagine.
You had more ladies within the first year of being in KISS than I've had in my entire life. I can guarantee you.
Now, add 'em
And
all up.
It's not even close. It's
Yeah.
not even close. I would say probably within the first 7 months of touring.
I
you
would say
went
that's
right
probably
through
accurate.
And just kept on going. So I'll give you that. I won't challenge you.
And
on
I
that.
haven't even had as many as Gene.
But then again, I've never had an STD.
Okay,
there's...
touche. Sometimes they don't clear up. I still have scars. Speaking
Well,
of
you got the
STDs,
makeup. What's in the entertainment news, Paul Stanley?
you know who Rod Stewart is?
I've heard of Rod Stewart, yes.
Well,
He was in Faces,
Oh, yeah, that band.
and he was also...
with Ed Wood.
Yeah, he was on Ron Wood.
Oh, Ron Wood from the Stones.
And at the same time, I never understood it. At the same time, he had a solo career where he was wildly popular.
Right.
And he was kind of more popular in his solo career than his band was. That must have led to some sort of tension, I would imagine.
Yeah, that never happened in KISS.
Yeah, no, you guys never went
Like
off
Gene
on...
never broke off and did an acoustic record.
No, right, yeah.
Or like those stupid 80s, no, the 90s Rod Stewart.
Let's say it's like 1970 or so. Whenever Maggie May came out, was it 71?
Yeah, Maggie
Right,
something.
okay. So he's in this band, The Faces. Now, but he's got this huge hit, Maggie May.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was in that band, if I was the bass player or something, I'd be like, hey, couldn't you have thrown that song to us?
Sure.
This could have been a huge hit.
He was also almost in Led Zeppelin.
I know that because that was the whole time that the Yardbirds were swapping people and the Jeff Beck
Yeah, a
group.
lot of
and they all-
swapping going on
There
in
was
the
a
60s.
lot of swapping.
Swapping.
Again, not part of my life, but I did not get STDs.
Well, let's keep this train a rolling.
Yeah, okay.
Did you
is
get
it
that?
true? Is it true that every super group has members with STDs?
Yes, it is. Except for Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
I don't know so much. Graham Nash was quite a player.
He was. He was also in the Hollies.
He was.
Wow,
All right.
they were so good.
All right, what is the news about Rod Stewart?
So downtown train singer.
It's not that stomach thing, because that's
Rod
not true.
Stewart. No, that was a myth.
That's a myth.
That was a myth.
That whole pumping thing.
It was
that
actually really
no,
Peter Criss.
it was a myth.
No, it was Peter. I know. That guy.
It
look,
was
he,
hey, I will not.
he never said no. Let's just say
I
that.
will not allow you to besmirch the great name of Peter Criss.
I'm so
the
sorry.
man who sang, by the way,
Beth
the biggest hit Kiss ever had.
and Hard Luck Woman.
Yeah,
What a
so-
great song with his raspy voice.
All right, what is Rod Stewart doing? Speaking of raspy voices,
Well, he's not singing James Taylor songs for Kiss like Peter Criss. But anyway, the 74-year-old hitmaker has been working on a model train set for 23 years in his attic.
oh really?
So yeah, when he's not touring,
He's been working on a model train set.
that's right. He's 74 years old and he's playing with toys.
You know, the model train people, Paul, I don't know if you know them, but I've known a few.
I know some.
Leo Mazzoni, who used to be the pitching coach.
For the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
great
remember
pitching
him. He would
coach.
sit and rock.
I used to work in the same building as him, and we hung
Ooh.
out just a little bit. And one time I was over at his house, and he had a train set.
Oh, really?
He's been having his whole life. He told me a story, and I think this is hilarious. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. There's nothing bad here. It's just hilarious. When he was 5 or 6 years old, he got a train set for Christmas. And his parents tell him that he used to just sit there and rock back and forth and watch the train go around. Of course, the rest of us watched him throughout the 90s, rock back and forth.
He
as
was
the pitching
thinking about his trains.
thinking about, but train people once in forever. I mean, they get
yeah.
in. You wonder sometimes mentally, how they're going in really deep.
Symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a very large piece of furniture that you have to have, like in some
table.
Yeah,
garage
it's a room. Like you're giving up a room for it, and then you have then the people get involved. Really get detailed with the town.
I'm making a recreation of the Lawrenceville Square.
Yeah, I don't picture Rod Stewart just painting little guys and putting them. Oh,
you think he paid somebody to come in?
Oh, he paid it. Like maybe that wife of his.
Who's he? I forget who he's married to.
I don't know who he's married to.
Some supermodel. No, some supermodel from the 80s, right? Is it you?
Yeah.
It's her. He's married to her.
How you doing?
Hi.
No, I think that she's
Who
like.
are you?
Hasn't he been?
I'm the star man.
Hasn't he been married? Somebody look it up.
that's
Hasn't he been married for a long
Jared,
time?
You're not paying attention.
Not as
You
long
look-
as-
Yeah, we've been married a long time.
I don't think it's a young girl. I mean, it might be.
She's
It might
not
be.
now.
I think that she's not.
But
well,
I
we don't-
still sound like this because of past childhood trauma.
Okay. Well,
It's so hot.
yeah.
That's the best thing. You hear a lady talking like that, you're in like Flint.
You know. You know.
yeah. Oh, you know.
Looking for a daddy figure.
Rod.
And she'll only cry for a couple of minutes when you
But
leave.
I think this is wrong. I think that Rod Stewart's been married for 25 years or something. I
Yeah.
think
His name's Rod.
his name is Roderick, I believe.
We call him Rod.
He
I
has
didn't know that.
Well, look here, he's on the cover of Railway Modeler magazine. That's like being in Rolling Stone.
on the cover of Railway
Look all
Modeler.
these dorks in the picture, these train people, and then you got Rod Stewart in his checkered
He's a
jacket.
big train
I don't know
guy.
what he's doing down in
He
that
looks like
basement.
English Nick.
Have you not been able to find this? How hard is it to find Rod Stewart's wife?
I'm looking right
I
now.
don't even know who Rod Stewart is.
I can do
Probably
impressions.
should. All right. You could do, Paul Stanley. Was that your impression?
That's
of,
all I can do is Jared.
Thanks, Paul.
You know what? If
Much
you-
of Atlanta feels the same way.
Right. And listen, hey, if you're making a lot of mistakes, this comes from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
This is a news story, Paul Stanley? This is not still about Rod Stewart and his trains.
No.
Okay.
We're still trying to find out if he's married.
I think
What
he's
are you
like,
calling his house?
is it like
Yeah,
Britt Eklund
I am.
or
I'm
something?
using the home line.
No,
I feel like it was somebody that...
she was, oh my God, you remember her?
I remember
Britt
the name.
Eklund,
I
wow.
remember the name.
Google that later, Jared.
He's been married twice.
Yeah.
His second marriage was to model Rachel Hunter
That's
from,
it. That's
from
it.
1990 to 2006.
Oh,
Oh,
but is
that's
he
it.
a single man now?
I believe
No.
so.
He's tearing it up.
I'm married. My name's Penny Lancaster.
Okay, well, it doesn't say in Wikipedia that he ever married you,
I'm 48 years old.
Penny Lancaster.
Oops, I'm British.
Hey, he's a global traveler. He can marry anybody.
Penny for your thoughts.
Penny Lancaster.
$100 for your thoughts.
I like that name, Penny Lancaster.
That is a good name.
That
So
should be like one of those BritBox shows, Penny Lancaster.
if you like Penny Lancaster and you make a lot of mistakes in life, you should try meditating, says research. Shouldn't this been an expert say?
Research.
So research. So what do you tell? How's this entertainment news?
Yeah, Jared.
What are you just
Usually I read these, but this time I didn't.
okay? So what's the story again?
I guess meditate and you'll be better off in life. I'll move
yeah.
to something a little sexier.
I like. Do you ever meditate?
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
I sit and I have Sanka.
You ever find that when you're meditating, sometimes you're trying so hard to forget everything that you can't forget anything.
Well,
It
you
becomes
can't
quite
force-
frustrating.
You can't think about forgetting things. You have to think about
I
your
don't want to
mantra.
think about nothing right now.
No, think about your mantra.
Oh, you do the Maharishi method.
Well, yeah, you breathe.
You have your
and you have your
Yo
mantra.
Rengekyo.
Yeah, you have a
Right.
word.
Not that long.
They'll give you for only $2,500. They'll give you your own mantra word.
You have to pay for it or else you won't do it. If
That's
someone gave you
right.
a mantra for free, you'd be
Yeah.
like, whatever, I'll just keep this on a bookshelf.
I've got one. It's supposed to be a word that's not a word. Seems like a word. And I invented a word. My little brother and I, we had bunk beds. I remember one time when I was 10, so he was probably about 8. We were laying in the bunk beds, we were talking, and we were coming up with words that we were making up that sounded good, but they weren't real words. And I remember mine. I think mine would actually be a good like Maharishi. What do you call that? Transcendental meditation.
TM.
One of those words. My word was squanchous.
That's a good one.
Squanchous.
Mine's floop.
Squanchous. What is it?
Floop.
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 I just go floop. Floop.
And
That's Zen,
centers
baby.
you?
That's Zen. I
Centers you?
Floop.
I never thought of you, Paul Stanley, as a big Zen guy.
And
There's no
listen,
conflict going on in there, huh?
No, I'm happy with me. I'm happy with Kiss.
Yeah.
Could use a little more money, but who couldn't?
How could you use a little more money? You have more money. You've not left one single penny on the table.
Hey, listen, you never
as
know who's
Kiss.
going to win the presidency. So you get a Democrat in there, and then all of a sudden, everything you've done over your entire life's gone.
All
in a
right, you
flash
have to get political now, Paul Stanley.
Hey, listen, I could do politics.
I already got spiritualism out of you. I want some entertainment.
Okay.
news.
Do you know who Ellie Goulding is?
I know the name.
Because I don't.
I know.
Yeah, she dated Skrillex for a little while.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Who's Skrillex?
Skrillex was a great EDM DJ.
What's EDM? Isn't
it's
that for, like if
electronic
your wiener
music.
doesn't work?
Hold on. Did I wake up, take a shower, put my clothes on, drive to work today, or is this a dream? Am I in the middle
I think you're dreaming.
of some kind of strange...
Floop. Floop.
Do you have a fever?
What's the Ellie? I don't know. I got to check myself.
Yeah.
I'll tease you. Some football team asked her to sing the halftime show, and she's not going to do it, and I'll tell you why.
Colin Kaepernick.
No.
All right. I've looked online, and I found that Ellie Goulding is a singer that's popular enough to be... She's slated to sing halftime during the Bills-Cowboys Thanksgiving Day game.
Wow, you know what? Is it
Paul
in Texas?
Stanley. Yes, it is
wow,
in
I
Dallas.
bet she's right in that, right in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, so I'm looking into this, Paul Stanley. So it's
Because I haven't,
it's
I'm glad
sponsored. It's sponsored by the Salvation Army. And
Is
it
that like
kicks
the
off-
Kiss Army?
It's sort of they're going to use it to it's been around a little bit longer.
Okay.
So it's the kickoff in that halftime on Thanksgiving to you sing the Salvation Army people with the ringing the bell for the
That's
money.
nice.
Right. Well, Salvation Army is, people forget, a Christian organization. Salvation Army. Their job is salvation, saving souls. That's their mission. So when Ellie Goulding, who didn't look into this, much like you didn't look into this story, when Ellie Goulding said, yes, I'll do this, she didn't realize that the Salvation Army was a Christian. And then now she's an artist, so she got inundated with all the people saying, hey, they're not very friendly to LGBTQ,
Oh,
whatever.
the Twitter people.
Huh?
The Twitter people.
Twitter people.
They're the ones.
And so now she's put an ultimatum on the table. Either the Salvation Army gives a large donation or something along those lines to LGBTQ stuff, or she won't do the halftime show. Which I don't see that they're going to bend to that. By the way, you might as well just cancel Christianity. I mean, isn't that? I mean, not all. Look, there are plenty.
Change your philosophy and then I'll sing.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm Ellie Goulding. Look, Christianity is a lot of people who believe different things. That's the truth. But there is a core traditional Christianity that isn't about gay marriage. That's just a truth. So is everybody, at what point does it become everybody who goes to church is somehow the enemy of LGBTQ? It seems like we're inching our way toward that, but I don't understand the incrementalism. People are adhering to their faith, and their faith disagrees with you. At what point are they all bad guys? It seems like we're getting close to that now. And if I was the NFL, I'd say, Ellie Goulding, it's been around for a couple of minutes. Salvation Army's been around for 100 years.
They should punt.
Well, yeah, they'll punt on it. Hour 2 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I'm enjoying the hell out of myself this morning. I have to tell you, as a radio expert, I don't know if the audience is having as much fun. This is a very long argument that we're having over nothing.
I'm on your side, but
I know. Well, thank you. It's good to know.
Well, the audience is on my side. So
No, the audience
thank
we've
you,
heard from
audience.
is
I
on
love
your
you guys.
side. First of all, So you have open mics and
I
stuff?
have open mics, Facebook messages, 2 + 2 = 4 messages, and tweets backing my side of the
All right,
argument.
you don't have to brag. I just asked you. I got everything. Yeah.
My mom, my dad is here. My parents, I have a dog, and he says I'm right. And
All right, let's do something besides this argument you and I are having about whether or not any song from the play Wicked will ever be as important to people as Over the Rainbow is from Wizard of Oz.
So you want to hold it for a little while?
No, just we can do it here, but let's
Well, I
start
can't
with something
hold
else. Oh. You're
All right.
excused.
We'll
Young
suck it.
lady,
Thanks.
I know what it's like. A lady, she's pushing 40. I know what happens.
achoo! Okay, I'm done.
Okay. You stay with us now?
Yeah.
It's all taken care of.
Released a little pressure.
We'll start with Chuck, who wrote in 3 places because he's so upset with you.
Is he angry with me?
He said,
I love it. I gave a long screed about my position on the death penalty, and that doesn't raise anybody. But talking about Wicked. Yeah, all right. Is that what this is?
Oh, you think it didn't raise anybody's attention? This open micer had this to say about the death penalty.
Oh, Eric gets a little older and changes his mind on the death penalty. Next thing you know, he'll be voting for Hillary.
Yep.
Next thing you know, he's in line at Wicked.
Yes, sir.
The point about the death penalty is I simply think it's being abused by prosecutors. Very simple. If death is the punishment that is deserved for the crime, it should be non-negotiable. Meaning, prosecutors have to work hard to convince the jury that that's what they need to do, or to give a verdict that would lead to that. And if there's going to be a death penalty, which there is, my belief is it should never be allowed to be used as a tool of prosecution. It's too important. It's too sacred. And I shouldn't be able to negotiate myself out of the death penalty if I deserve it. And I shouldn't be able to talk prosecutors into the death penalty if they don't like the way that I'm dealing with them. Death penalty is severe, and it just should be, hey, this person deserves death. Now we're going to work hard to convince a jury that that's true. Or just don't put it on the table at all if you don't think you can get a jury to go with you on it. That's your decision. But as long as it's being used as a tool, and 2 different people, like in Gwinnett, who are both responsible for the death of this child, one gets the death penalty and one doesn't, only based on how much they cooperated with the prosecution, which equals hey, if you make our job easy, we won't kill you. But if you make us work and do all the stuff that Constitution says we got to do, well, if we get you, we're going to kill you. I don't like it being used for that reason. I'm not saying it was used for that reason last night. That's just the fact that there was a death penalty case. Let me have the platform to tell you what I've been thinking about lately.
And like anything, there's nuance involved. So this is a question, and it's a legitimate, and I'm not being goofy. You think of Dylan Roof, and what he did most definitely deserves the death penalty.
Absolutely.
Now, the people
But I don't think he should be able to negotiate.
No.
Right.
My question is, the victims, the churchgoers, would probably disagree with that.
And that's still okay, because it's okay in my mind if the churchgoers, from their worldview and philosophy and religious beliefs, it's okay that they can personally forgive him. But the state is a whole different
thing. The state and the law are...
I'm just talking about the state. I don't have a problem with a cold-blooded murder being put to death. I think that's the punishment that is deserved.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, am I trusting when I'm seeing what's going on with prosecutors in this country? And let's look at, the top guys like Mueller, who we used to think, oh, well, you could definitely give that guy that responsibility. And it's weird. It gets, you can see that none of these people are beyond cutting a deal. You should never be able to cut a deal concerning the death penalty, whether it means you get it or you don't. You either deserve it or you don't. And the reason that I'm starting to not support, it's not that I don't support the concept, I'm not feeling comfortable with turning that power over to the people that we have in government now at all levels, because we have the worst of my lifetime. I mean, there's some of them actually believe that Wicked is better than the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
With that kind of judgment, I can't give you that kind of power.
Well,
yes.
So I have Chuck's comment where he wrote in 3 places.
Chuck is mad.
He's very upset.
He's angry.
He says, Eric, you don't get it, with 3 exclamation marks.
Oh,
Defying gravity is
it'd be a point.
exclamation points.
See, the way that I do that is I go question mark. So the mark could go, because you'd never say question point. I'm helping you out here because I have the same problem. You'd never say question point. So in my mind, I always think when it comes to exclamation, I want to say mark.
You're making,
It's my mnemonic. Sort of. Is that a mnemonic?
You're making your point with an exclamation point.
That's what I'm doing.
He says, Eric, you don't get it. Defying Gravity is unbelievable.
That's a song.
The song is about being brave enough to be yourself. It is certainly of this level and caliber of Over the Rainbow.
Except, look, let me give you an example. First of all, everybody's yelling at me for something I didn't say. I haven't seen Wicked. Maybe it's a great play. I'm not saying it's not a great play. I'm not saying that the music doesn't work within it. We're talking about, like a breakout star. So Over the Rainbow is breakout. You don't have to have any connection to The Wizard of Oz to hear it, to love it. And this song, I think, is within the world of Wicked. Now, let me give you an example. You don't have to be a racing fan. Maybe you don't know anybody in racing. But if a cop stops you and says, "Who you think you are, Mario Andretti?" You know what he's talking about. Because Mario Andretti, for one reason or another, was a breakout star. Like, you know nothing about racing, but you know who he is. Same thing with NASCAR. You could know nothing about NASCAR. And if the cop said, "Who do you think you are, Richard Petty?" Same thing. Breakout. You don't have to know. Over the Rainbow is that out of Wizard of Oz. It is. It doesn't have to be connected to the Wizard of Oz to affect people. And I'm just saying that this song, Defying Gravity, will not be sung by 4-year-olds in 50 years.
Well,
Still, to this day, name another movie that 4-year-olds will watch from 1939.
Well, and even in futuristic movies, people are saying, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Things like that. That's all I'm saying. But people who don't know how to argue points, even trivial ones like this, they answer something that you didn't say. I deal with this with my wife all the time. You answer stuff that you didn't say. I didn't say that Wicked was a bad play. I didn't say that the music was terrible.
I didn't say you looked fat. I said that shirt doesn't fit.
Yeah, I was just saying that maybe the pattern of the shirt and the pants.
Hey, you don't want an honest answer, don't ask.
Yes, this happens quite often in my life that people respond to something that I didn't say.
Well, how about this one?
I just said there's not going to be a breakout song 50 years from now that 5-year-olds are singing from Wicked. That's all I'm saying.
James says, Jared, don't try to defend it. Tim and Eric went in without an open mind. It's a great song and a great musical.
I'm open.
They full
Again,
on
right there. We're not. Is that person responding to what I said?
Nope.
No. But they're acting like I said that's not a good musical. I didn't say that. I can't say that because I haven't seen it. Because I hate musicals.
But you can tell.
James continues. He says,
I don't know. They tell me Hamilton is the greatest thing ever.
It's very good.
Anytime I hear a song from Hamilton, it sounds to me like the rapping math professor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what do you do it sometimes, Autumn? What is this like?
It's, I'm Hamilton, and I'm here to say I'm going to kill William Burr in a different way.
Yeah, it's like the math guy. I'm here. We're going to learn mathematics in a different way. To me, it sounds like that level. It doesn't sound like rap.
It's not clever. Like Eminem has really interesting, clever rhyming patterns and ways to rhyme. Hamilton doesn't do that. It's sort of watered down rap.
You know, Eminem has so many clever different ways of rapping about killing innocent people.
Hey, I didn't say
Usually
that the subject matter was...
No, I agree. I agree.
But this isn't Gilbert and Sullivan. Anywhere near Gilbert and Sullivan or all those classical musicals.
You're looking at Jared Yamamoto, who's going to argue you to the death. And
I'm letting the listeners argue
hold
for
on.
me.
And my point is, he doesn't know who Gilbert and Sullivan is. So how can he argue about the past?
It's a couple magicians, right?
Millennials don't know about the past. So they don't, I mean, some do, but as a generation, they're the least curious generation about what happened before they were around. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
So they're going to argue something that has to do with the past. How can you argue about Broadway musicals or musicals in general if you don't know who Gilbert and Sullivan are?
I don't think you could argue without seeing it.
I didn't, but again, no, you're right. I couldn't argue that it's a bad play without seeing it. But you played the song for me, and I don't have to see the movie Wizard of Oz. If you played Over the Rainbow next to that song, I would say, well, that one's a keeper.
Well, this gets back to James's point. He says they full-on dissed the Wizard of Oz and how the songs were too happy and didn't fit the books, then fawn all over the Rainbow. You know what you're talking about, J-Rad.
And
then I have one more open mic about.
That's not what I did.
Cats is another example of the song Memory.
Yeah.
If that's what it's is it memory or is it memory?
Is that when the kitties are sleeping? The one Letterman used to always dawdle to himself?
Well, he made that up. That's not part of the song.
Oh, is that really? Oh,
No.
I don't know. I never saw it. I
But
thought there's no midnight and the kitties are sleeping?
No.
Oh.
That's not in the song. That song is beautiful and it exists outside of Cats. Anywhere, everybody knows that song.
Yeah.
But then you watch Cats and you're like, oh, I have to sit here for 90 minutes before I get to this song.
Yeah.
Because it's ridiculous.
How many cats are they going to introduce?
It's ridiculous. But it still has that memorable song. And this is just...
It's like seeing an 80s band that had one hit on the TV. You're like, come on! Woo! Let's go!
All right, let this open micer speak then.
I thought Eric was wicked smart, but he ain't wicked smart. Jared, you got him on this one. This is, Wicked is one of the best plays out there.
Stop him. It's not the argument. Again, somebody is answering something that I didn't say. All right, we spent way too much time.
There's a wire and the witch flies around.
Yeah.
Wow. It's from the witch's point of view.
Yeah, I always wondered what she thought.
It's a good thing.
It sounds like we need to have.
I'm jumping on a
Why
plane.
is she so evil, though?
What's her motivation?
It's a good thing that I'm...
When she died at the end, I kind of felt
She is
bad.
misunderstood.
It's a good thing that I'm getting on a plane in a few hours. I will not have to talk to my program directors about why I wasted the audience's first hour and 20 minutes of this show.
It's more interesting in the impeachment, I can tell you that.
Yeah, we could have been talking about impeachment.
Oh, we have so much.
There
about
were
that.
no good songs that I could hear from yesterday from that one.
Somewhere over
There you go.
the rainbow, way up
I'm assuming people have heard it before. We don't have to play the whole thing. Unlike the song from Wicked, I wouldn't be able to assume that.
Defying Gravity, which birthed 2 stars.
You can't defy gravity.
Birthed 2 stars?
Birthed 2 stars.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, Autumn?
Oh.
Yeah, everybody knows that. Come on.
Congratulations to the birth.
No, I guess it was made a hit, right? You're telling me that it was made a hit.
Yeah,
I don't listen to music.
Idina Menzel.
We had a story about Ellie Goulding who's going to play halftime at the Bills-Cowboys game on Thanksgiving. I don't really know who this person is.
Well, Ellie Goulding was brought...
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about pop songs right now. I turn on the radio and music just terrible.
Ellie Goulding used Skrillex. That's the big story with that.
Oh, great.
She dated him.
I'm sure I'm just out of it. That's fine. I realized a while ago, when as you age, when you're a hip young man such as I was, sometimes you feel like I got to keep up with things. I got to keep up with the new music and whatever. I got to about 49 or 50. And I don't really have to. There's a lot of stuff in that treasure trove of great music from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. There's a lot of stuff inside there that I don't know.
Plenty to discover.
I don't need to keep. Maybe Ellie Goulding is the greatest thing since whatever.
I just keep
thinking
hearing
of
Elliot Gould.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I say Goulding, is I think of Elliot Gould.
Yeah.
Ellie Goulding.
Ellie Goulding.
There's a U in there,
Goulding is her name, though.
Okay. What's her song? How's it go? Sing it.
I like Starry Eyes.
How's that go, Jared?
Hey,
Sing
hey,
it.
Starry Eyes.
That's what.
It's mainly for the beat in the background.
I wanted to get him to sing just
Allie
to prove
can pull it up.
That Jared was one of the only people I've met in my life who has a worse singing voice than me.
Why are you shaming me?
Than me. Because I'm telling you, I thought I was the worst.
Starry eyes. Hey, starry eyes. You have starry eyes. So do I. I got starry eyes. Hey.
That's what I'm pulling it up.
Sounds fantastic. I don't know. I'm not saying things are bad. I'm just saying that you can't keep up with everything. And it seems to me that most pop culture is just very thin and disposable now. That's the way that I see. People don't care about stuff. It used to be that like something would come along, it would be a craze for 6 months, and then it would go away and people forget about it.
Yeah.
Now things pop up and they're a craze for 14 days. And by day 25, people are on to the next thing.
The angry cat meme.
I can't keep up with all this stuff. I almost killed myself with the Tide Pod Challenge. And I said, hey, you know what? I don't need to keep up with these kids anymore.
You succeeded, though.
Shut up.
Oh, I can't believe I don't.
That's Ellie
I
Goulding.
don't know this song.
All right, okay, it's a pop song.
Yeah. I'm not screwed Skrillex over.
Oh.
like Skrillex.
No one cares about Skrillex.
No one knows who Skrillex is except for him. All right, when we come back, we're going to do actual talk radio. I promise. And I know people are, I'm done with this. Thank you. I know people go an hour and a half, more than an hour and a half in, Eric, and you haven't really talked about that
impeachment inquiry.
Yeah, I haven't yet. I didn't watch any. I can tell you this though. This is America for you. I wake up the next day, and all that impeachment thing that was going on yesterday, and I got a talk show, so I better see what the hell went on. This is America for you. New York Post this morning. Adam Schiff's dull impeachment hearings are a flop. Oh, okay. Now here's the Politico headline. Trump exposed. A brutal day for the president. So no minds are changed, right? The people are exactly where they were. But nothing ever actually happens in these processes that changes anybody's mind. People just get hardened more into what they already thought before the whole thing got going. But we will talk about more of that at 11, maybe in the 11 o'clock hour, because I do believe there was some news that was made because somebody heard somebody else on the phone with somebody and the thing, and there was a guy in the bathroom. He was really loud. So Trump's not watching it, right?
I did not watch it. I'm too busy to watch it. It's a witch hunt. It's a hoax. I'm too busy to watch it. So I'm sure I'll get a report. There's nothing. I have not been briefed. No.
So you didn't watch it.
I wasn't briefed. No. Look, I have other things going on. I have a DVR filled with The Masked Singer.
The Masked Singer.
Yeah, that show is incredible. They put on these goofy outfits and they sing and you don't know who they are.
Yeah,
and people who are supposed to be celebrities try to figure it out.
Are you surprised when they take the thing off?
Oh, wow! I had no idea that was him. Alex Rodriguez, the Yankees guy. Wow, what a great voice. He's with J-Lo.
You know what? I wonder if that Ken Jeong. He's one of the judges, right?
He's great. I love him from The Hangover.
I think he's good in The Hangover. I can't really. Is he funny?
He's hilarious.
Is he?
He shows his
did
wiener.
you see him in Community?
Yeah, but without a script, without being in something, though. Is he?
I admire the guy. He doesn't have much to work with. He takes his pants off in the movie.
Okay, very good.
I mean, hey, that's comedy.
That's comedy. It is comedy.
Look at you.
Gotcha. So we could talk impeachment, or we could do WTF, and then this, and the back, and let's do this.
What the?
Seriously, what the?
WTF with Autumn Fisher.
We can talk about impeachment. We can talk about implumbment.
Listen, you need to stop doing your nails, because I know that distracts you when you do that. You're very focused on your nails. So let's focus on the WTF.
I'm not doing my nails. I'm just cutting the cuticles.
I know how you are. You get very focused on that. So what's in the WTF?
The Country Music Awards dedicated the night to celebrating legendary women.
Well, the revolution must touch everything, right?
Right, but by the show's end, it was kind of forgotten. Well,
I mean, there was a lot. I saw a lot of stuff this morning on the news medias where they had, they pulled out Dolly, and they had a lot of women doing a lot of women
Reba.
things. Yeah, but wasn't Jennifer Nettles, my old nemesis, Jennifer Nettles, who used to know this old show I was on anyway, and we were very good to the band before. What is she in, Sugar Bland?
Yeah, Sugar Bland.
Oh, what are you, Greg Ross?
Yeah, going after him. Hard hitting. Yeah, it's kind of squirrely. I forgot that even so Nettles was in that band Soul Miner's Daughter. Is that what it was called?
Soul Winer.
Soul Diner.
Oh, sick burn.
Soul Miner's Daughter. And we featured them a lot on the other show that I was on. And then when she got really big, I was like, no, I never heard of that person. But then I forgot that when I was making the movie about Driving and Crying, we extended an invitation to the brothers. No, I won't be a part of that. Oh, really? Darius Rucker was a part of it. He's pretty big. That's all right. So I may have... I'm not a big fan of Jennifer Nettles.
All right. Well, she wore a cape last night that said play our effing records.
Yeah.
And it also said equal pay.
Yeah, equal. I think she said equal play on.
Equal play.
Yeah. Sorry. So now this is getting. Boy, I love it when the millionaires start looking out for the little people. Yeah. Well, they're saying now that women don't get enough of their songs are played on the radio, on country radio.
No.
So, is that what they're saying? Or
yeah.
No?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Okay.
Yes.
The answer would be yes, then, to the question that I asked. But you know what? A lot of great music doesn't get played on radio. I think if you're an artist now and you're depending on radio, keep dreaming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in country, it's a little bit different because there's still country radio and it's modern and it's terrible. I would have worn a dress that said, play good country music on the radio. I don't care who it is.
Yeah. Stop patronizing me.
Yeah, that's the dress that I had made in fashion, but then I remembered that I wasn't invited to the awards.
Oh.
So I just wore it around the house last night.
Swishing and sashaying around.
My own red carpet, if you will.
Yeah.
So, do you have Jennifer Nettles?
I
now
do.
She's what is she? An advocate? She's an activist for other female country singers.
What a look!
Listen, if you're gonna do it, do it.
I mean, it is Nashville, and you are showing up. What is
Hold on a second. This is the red carpet.
Yes.
Is this guy living? Okay, go ahead.
It's Nashville, and you are showing up. What is this gorgeous outfit?
This is an inspiration, I have to tell you. When I found out that the CMAs was going to be celebrating women this year, I said, well, isn't this a wonderful invitation to continue the conversation?
Stop! That's when you know somebody is parroting things that they've heard other people say. The conversation. 2 buzzwords. All you need to know if the person talking to you is just parroting something they've heard before. One is the conversation. And the other is anytime they say sustainable. The word sustainable is you are then given permission to completely ignore whatever that person says after it because they are parroting something that they have heard somebody else say. Sustain, if not sustain, get out of my face. It's not sustainable. Nobody ever defines sustainable.
It's something that can be sustained.
Yeah, have you noticed this? No, it's like with taxes with Elizabeth Warren. Everybody keeps saying, got to pay your fair share. It started with Obama, right? Pay your fair share.
You got to get out there and pay your fair share. Play more ladies on the country station.
Did Clinton say that? I don't remember him, but the first one I remember is Obama. Got to pay your fair share.
Pay it.
And now, but have you noticed that no one attempts to or actually does define what is the fair share? What is the rate that you should be paying if you're a billionaire? No one defines it. The taxes just keep going up, and then in the next election, they point to the same people and say, you got to pay your fair share. So there's no definition. Sustainability is whatever the sociology professor deems as sustainable. You know what's sustainable? Hey, you know what's not sustainable? America under a socialist president. That's
I got to differ.
If I was in that class, I'd say, this homework is unsustainable.
Yeah, this is not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's just buzzwords of people just pair. So the conversation. What conversation? What does a person says something like that? Continuing the conversation. Somebody here tell me what's the conversation? Because if I said, "Hey, I had a conversation with Autumn last week. It was an interesting conversation about X, Y, or Z." We could say Autumn could say, "Yeah, we were on the phone, or we were in the same room. It was the two of us. We were having a conversation." The conversation on equal pay. What? This isn't a conversation. This is if I can rally enough people to bully enough corporations, they will bend to my will. How the hell is that a conversation? In a conversation, by the way, you're allowed to bring up anything. How do you have a conversation in the middle of cancel culture?
It's monologue.
It's
a lecture.
It's
group monologue.
Yeah. Well, group monologue would be a chant. Putting it all together.
I'm trying to be clever.
So I've got more from Jennifer Nettles, but I think Casey Musgraves can also help articulate her argument.
You guys tell me that she's good.
She's very good.
Musgrave love.
Yeah,
she won.
That was her first hit many years ago.
She won Female Vocalist of the Year, and much like Miss Nettles, she
Don't
said
they all win the same thing every year? Hey, the winner of the greatest guy with a cowboy hat for the 19th year in a row, Garth Brooks, everybody.
Most gallons in a hat.
Oh, what a surprise.
Garth Brooks won Entertainer of the Year, but he yielded. He yielded his victory.
Way to go, Nashville. Why? Because he sold out like 9,000 stadiums, so I get that.
I always tried to call it like I see it. If they gave this award for this show tonight, I'd have to give it to Reba McEntire's performance for tonight, too.
Yes. Now, that may be true. I know you're pandering, but if they gave an award for having an upper lip, you'd get it because she ain't got it. The one thing about Reba McEntire, she doesn't have her upper lip.
That's not very nice.
What's wrong with that?
That's not nice.
Lester Holt doesn't have an upper lip. There are a lot of people that have an upper lip. It's not a gender thing.
Well.
Casey Musgraves was.
What do you know? Somebody who doesn't have an upper lip, and you're lip shaming? Is that it?
Listen, I've gone through a lot to get my upper lip,
All right.
and I know the struggle.
Well, I appreciate the struggle, but Reba McEntire freaks me out because she ain't got no upper lip.
Well, Reba, Jennifer Nettles, and Casey Musgraves all were kind of on message last night.
Yeah. The female creative spirit, female energy, it's really needed right now. It's really important, and I feel like it's something that Earth needs.
Oh, the Earth!
Yeah.
You know what the Earth needs? Good country music on the radio.
And less men. Woo!
If you ask the Earth, what would you rather have? More female spirit or more good country music on the radio? I think the Earth would choose the latter. But the spirit thing, I love. This is one of the things that I enjoy about being my wife. She sees stuff like that. Like, play that again.
The female creative spirit, female energy. It's really needed right now. It's really important, and I feel like it's something that Earth needs.
So whenever we see stuff like that, my wife says, women are some of the cruelest people in the world. You get women talking about other women that they don't like. Mm-hmm. It's this concept that women are somehow have a female energy that's different from men.
Yeah, you talk horrible things about some friend of yours, and then that friend comes in the room like, hey, girl!
yeah. The Earth needs more of that energy.
And also, it's weird that the answer to even, let's say, toxic masculinity, the answer to that is not then toxic femininity.
Well, yeah, hey, that's what they're selling. Terminator Dark Fate. So, hey.
Saying like women, they're putting too much stock in being a woman.
Yeah.
The female creative spirit, female energy. It's really needed right now. It's really important, and I feel like it's something that Earth needs.
The
what
Earth
is the
needs
female creative spirit?
Will be when even men decide that they want to waste their money consulting astrologers and psychics.
Well,
That's what we need more. More of that female intelligence and intuition.
Eric Von Haessler.
If you think the stock market is unpredictable, buckle up and spend the next hour here. Seriously, we have no idea what he's going to say next. Eric Von Haessler on 95.5 WSB.
I'll tell you what, they're getting all that political stuff going on in country music with the women and the what. I'll tell you what, that Donna Fargo never would have caused a fuss like that.
No, she
was the happiest girl in the whole USA. Back when country radio was fun to listen to before the conversation got started. All right, what do you go with the WTF there? What do you got?
Very wealthy Texan is spending his fortune and hours a day trying to live as long as he can, possibly to 120 years old by using biohacking.
I don't know what biohacking is. My prediction is that this will fail.
Well, it's so for instance, I think he takes like 150 pills a day that are specially calibrated by his doctor.
Yeah.
He spends 3.5 hours doing all these regimented activities, like using special equipment to shine lights at him that help reduce stress and calm him down before bed. He uses special glasses to reduce blue light.
He's already ill.
Nope, he's healthy.
Really? Okay.
They said yes, he's totally fine.
Right.
He has
a mental problem.
Possibly
it's like OCD on steroids.
Well, you know what it kind of sounds like is an eating disorder almost.
Yeah. Whether it's too much or too little.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would caution people to this. You think you want to live forever, but you don't. Oh man, I wish we could live 500 years. Do you? Well, you got to work this into the equation. If you live 500 years, you don't retire when you're 72. You work until you're 472. People are not really thinking this through. Hour 3 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I was thinking about that Donna Fargo. She wasn't just the happiest girl in the whole USA. Also, what's the other one? Funny Face.
Funny face, I love you. Funny face, I need you.
Now that was good female country music.
Yeah.
They didn't show up with dresses with messages.
Tanya Tucker.
Yeah.
All disheveled all the time.
I don't know that her story is the best one to throw out there.
She was gritty. She was country.
That's the ideal.
Alt country.
Oh, my goodness. So are you going to try to force me to talk about impeachment?
I think so.
Before I have some other stuff I definitely want to get to. So, okay, let's get started. Let's do this.
More headlines for Thursday, November 14th.
Because that Greta Thunberg is in the news again.
Yes, she is.
Get this. She's angry about the climate.
Still?
What's a new twist?
Still?
Yes, a new twist with this Greta. She's still angry. Did you see that they, in San Francisco, somebody put a mural of her head on the side of a building?
I've seen that.
I don't know what it is. First of all, she's 16, so I don't have any animosity toward any 16-year-old. If you knew the things that I was telling people when I was 16, I mean, I don't hold that. But I do not see what the attraction is in terms of politics. Like, I don't understand. To me, she just seems grumpy. I don't see that as attractive. And by attractive, I don't mean girl thing. I'm talking about politically speaking.
Not a good look.
Somebody who I would want to follow politically. I find her to be disconcerting.
Well,
That's the word.
She knows how
That's
to
the word. That's our word of the day. You know, O'Reilly has been shipped off to Newsmax. So he used to have a word of the day. We'll have a word of the day. Disconcerting. I love the word disconcerting because it doesn't have any judgment attached to it. It's just it's like, I don't know. I find that guy to be somewhat disconcerting. You don't really have to follow up as to why. You don't have to tell you to say the guy's horrible. I find her to be, I guess that's another way of saying off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm put off by her. But other people see her. It shows you how human beings are, how we see the world so differently. Other people are, oh, finally, we have a leader who. So all she does is just yell at people.
She knows how to play the hits. She plays the hits all the time.
Now, where is she? What is her story? She's going to row her way back across the ocean on a bucket because she doesn't want to use any waste.
I will have no waste as I row myself across the ocean back home.
And then she's going to go to the UN, some other UN thing.
Yeah,
it's like she's on tour. It's like a new climate change tour, and she's going to go do that, which makes me, in my mind...
How are you feeling out there, Detroit?
Yeah, but more than that...
I can't hear you.
More than that, I think of her now. If she's going to be that kind of act, like I flash forward like 20 years into the future when she's not a big star anymore. Like like she comes here and she plays Smith's Old Bar or something. You know, like when a band, like at first they're playing State Farm Arena, then 20 years later they're playing Smith's Old Bar. It's like Greta Thunberg. Hey, you remember her? All the nostalgia. Yeah, she's a little older now, but she's still grumpy.
I'm still upset about many things. Welcome to the Gwinnett County Fair.
They just yell at us for being at a county fair. Like, what other...
Why are there so many cows and pigs in pens? I feel horrible for them. They're
wait
not.
A minute. Aren't we all supposed to be dead by now? Didn't you tell us 20 years ago we'd all be dead by now?
Thanks to my voice and the conversations I've started in this world, we are not dead yet. But if we don't keep talking, we'll all die soon.
I like.
I remember you. You were around when you were a little kid.
Enjoy your deep-fried Oreos.
Okay.
The planet continues to melt around you.
They're damn good.
She sounds the same 20 years from now. You didn't age at all. You just like preserved.
My back hurts. I have carpal tunnel from pointing at you and telling you you're wrong.
That's right. Greta Thunberg tour 2035.
I've never learned to smile.
I know, apparently. I don't know.
Even when I smile, I'm in pain.
That's what I don't get. I don't get what is so open and inviting about her message. I find her to be off-putting.
Well, when she was back here in 2019.
But then again, I don't think the world's coming to an end. So
You can't handle it. That's why it's off-putting. It's because you cannot deal with the realities of the world around you melting and dying.
I will.
How dare you? I shouldn't be here.
I will fight you with your own words.
How dare you? How dare you?
You were at Jasper.
How dare you?
Jasper National Park in Canada, and the scientists were telling you that the glaciers are melting.
I visited a glacier in Jasper National Park in Canada, and that glacier was. I spoke to scientists, and they told me that glacier is basically already gone. No matter what we do, this glacier is gonna melt.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
Yeah, I told her that
I can take this one.
I've spoken directly to the glacier. The glacier told me it was dying, and it was already gone.
And people are questioning you. They're saying, you're a kid. You shouldn't be handling this by yourself, Greta. But you stood up to them.
First of all,
where are my parents?
Good question. Good question. So you talk to a scientist. I could talk to, do you have the ability to ask questions? Do you have the ability to cross-examine?
Yes, I can. How dare you?
Are there other... Well, I'll fight you with your own fire, lady.
How dare you?
I mean, it's... Okay, I talked to a scientist. All right, but do you have the ability... Are there any other scientists that disagree with that scientist?
No.
Scientists? No, they all...
I've spoken to every scientist about this glacier.
This thing...
All of them said it was already gone.
They still...
Oh, God.
All right, relax. We have a few minutes left. We're already,
Time is ticking.
I know it is, Greta, but
it keeps going.
I know.
Going
I understand.
We're all going to be
yes,
dead.
I know. We'll just relax.
We're either going to drown or burn to death.
Okay, relax.
Eric, the scientists who question the dogma are apostates, and they're kicked out of the community.
Well, here's the thing: is this still works. For years, I've been doing this. Anybody. First of all, because I'm not really buying into all this stuff, I'm called anti-science. But I love science. I love science, and I read about it as much as I can understand it. But this is always the thing. So, what do you know? And it changes. But it's somewhere between 95 and 98% of all climate scientists or whatever all agree. And that's their big selling argument. Oh, well, you know better than 97% of the climate scientists in the world. 97% agree. And my comeback, no one has ever, I've never been upped on this. That's, oh, really? 97% of climate scientists agree. Name 3 of them. And you can't use Bill Nye.
How dare you?
You can't use Bill Nye the Science Guy, and you can't use Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes, but 9 out of 10 dentists agree about a toothpaste, and I can't name them either.
Well, that's good, but I don't necessarily buy toothpaste because of that claim.
And I'm sure one of the scientists' name is Stephen or Rebecca.
Yeah. I wonder if it would work on her. Like, you would think she had done her homework. So, well, this guy, that guy. So it's what I'm saying is you may not know this, but it's an illegitimate argument to walk up to me and say 97% of whatever scientists agree on this. And if I say to you, name 3, and you can't, your argument has crumbled like dust. What was that? James?
Jim? Laura.
And by the way, it doesn't even mean that it's wrong. It just means you are not the right person to be carrying the message because you want to say that and move on and go, hey, they opened a new cidery. Let's go hang out there and brunch all day long.
Well, that's interesting.
Hold on. If you're going to talk about science and climate science and whatever, when you open your mouth, I'm going to expect you've read 3 or 4 books, some white papers, some deep stuff. You know what you're talking about. You're not just saying something you heard other people. Oh, yeah, then you are. The entire world is just saying what other people are saying.
Yeah, that is interesting because we do a lot of talking about things we believe in and how things should change. But what we really care about is that we get next day shipping for free from Amazon.
Exactly. And by the way, everyone you're going to vote for is going to try to change the system that brought you one day shipping. But you don't know that because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's really, really great to be really informed. To actually read other points of view, run it through your own filter, figure out what's real. But people don't do that. That's why none of this should be taken seriously. You know, the impeachment thing that I've been kind of avoiding today. Why would I take it seriously? Inquiry. The word inquiry means the people who put it on don't know what the answer is before they start, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're inquiring. We want to find. So right there, does anybody, I mean, maybe some people do. I don't. I believe every Democrat in that committee, before they held the first hearing, behind closed doors or in public, knew that they were going to vote yes to impeachment. So what's don't call it an inquiry. You're offending my sensibilities. You know, just say, hey, this is a kangaroo court. And I'm not even saying that in defense of Trump. Logic and reason are like water. They find their own level. It's there and it's real, and it doesn't matter who you voted for or what side you're on. So if you're going to call it, what did I say, Bobby De Niro?
Impeachment inquiry.
And it's not an inquiry, then it's okay for me to go, that's not legitimate. That's not credible. I'm not interested in watching you go through the motions. I know where you're going to land. An inquiry has a question mark when you start. A real inquiry, you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know what's going to happen. Now, there may be some people listening to me right now who believe that's the case. I don't. I believe you know how you feel about it, and I believe that the people who are in D.C. know how they feel about it. They're trying to make a case to get more people in the public to support them. That can be legitimate or illegitimate. I'm not judging that. What it is not, most certainly, is an inquiry. And so I don't have time in my life anymore for these shows or to get involved or to have skin in the game on one side or the other. When both sides are full of it, unplug and go take a walk in the park. I'll tell you this, and it's been interesting because I haven't been watching sports, and I watch sports, the games, but no sports talk, and I haven't been watching any 24-hour news. And one good thing is I haven't seen a commercial of catheters in like a month, which is great. And I'm catching up on that Star Trek Next Generation. I know it's like 50 years old, but I'm enjoying it.
Make it so.
Much better than any of the impeachment inquiries. An inquiry? An inquiry means you don't know what you're going to think at the end. The end. It's been a while since we heard some listener is mad at me, yell at me. So, you got an open mic?
Yeah, this is from the WSB radio app.
So, Eric, with regards to the coup, you give us the option of believing you or Rush Limbaugh. And I'm going to go with Rush.
Well, I want to tell you, don't listen to this guy. I mean, I listen to Eric. Don't go so hard on him. But listen, he's a stoner, and he does a goofy show with his goofy whatever Doctrinaires. But listen, I laugh every once in a while, but you can't take him serious.
I don't know what I said. Was I saying that he should be? Sometimes I hear the open mics. I think, well, maybe I forgot what I said yesterday. Like maybe I did come on the air and say he should be impeached immediately. I just try to call it I try to tell you what I think is happening.
You want to hear it again? See if you can clarify?
By the way, another guy that all these guys use. I got to tell you, man, with the Trumpers, you know, a smile goes a long way. These people are very, very serious.
So, Eric, with regards to the coup, you give us the option of believing you or Rush Limbaugh. And I'm going to go with Rush.
I don't remember saying that I was in favor of a coup, but who knows?
Good choice.
You guys can tell my mood is changing as we get toward the end of the show. There will be no podcast 30 because I have to catch a plane. And if there's two things in this world I really am not enamored with, it would be flying and going to weddings. I got a big old weekend ahead of me now. And I get to fly up north where it's freezing even more than it is here. So I'm not really...
You gonna stop by for a visit?
I am going to stop by for a visit. No, I'm going to...
Oh, no.
What do you mean? No, stop by... Oh, for you?
Yeah.
No, I'm not driving. I'm flying. I'll fly over Baltimore.
So?
I'm going to Western New York. Why would I stop in Baltimore on my way to Western New York?
You can get a car when you get in New York.
and drive
on
back
down.
That is a 6-hour drive.
People don't realize
So?
that. New York State. People think that New York State is all New York City.
Yeah.
Buffalo, New York is 400 miles from New York City. People do not realize, at least driving on the throughway, it's 400 miles. So, I got to fly. I'm not a big fan of that. It's not even really the flying. It's the airport. It's the parking. It's the going through.
Why don't you ride MARTA?
It's realizing right now that I have the picture on my license was taken in 1998.
You're handsome. You're handsome now, but I mean, you were younger.
What are you getting at? What are you?
That was the wrong word. You were younger.
Certainly, there has been some changes to my face. There have been some. Okay, complete change to my face. I don't know why they let me fly. I didn't even thought about this, but my license picture, 30. What was I in 98?
Whoa.
37, 36, something like that.
Why is it the same?
I've never had to. This year, I'm going to have to do it again. There's no getting out of it. But they've just reissued the license over and over and over again.
Wow.
And there was a terrorism thing a few years ago, and it was after May, like my birthday. I didn't have to do it; everybody else had to do it.
Do you have the little gold star, the real ID?
I haven't done that yet. No, but that's not mandatory until next year.
That's right, October
of
1st
next year.
Of next year.
So I would like
I got
to.
mine.
You got yours? Oh, yeah, not to brag.
I
I didn't even know we had to have this until I don't know, a few weeks ago. We were doing the reporting.
Thanks, Bush.
Yeah. Well, it's probably a good thing.
I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, what the hell? Just say things. You don't have to have any
It's all
meaning
Bush's
behind it.
fault, not mine.
All right, let's do this.
It's the stories we just couldn't miss. It's the Doctrine Extra.
Before we get off the Greta Thunberg, I was thinking of this, this whole thing about climate change. Everybody agrees the temperature's going up. Of course, the question is why, and is it something that is it part of a cycle that we don't know about, a very long cycle that we don't know about? Because, some people say there's more ice in other places. I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong. But one thing I do know, and everybody goes crazy like the Greta Thunberg and how dare you, and I shouldn't have to be here, and you people the world's coming to an end. It strikes me that we don't ever talk about the true existential threat to the world. It hasn't changed since 1945. Nuclear proliferation. That's the threat. I mean, if you want to be afraid of something, it's the fact that this stuff will get in the hands of a rogue nation who will then pass it to. I remember things, actually, unlike some people. I remember one of the debates between Kerry and Bush. John Kerry was going on something, whatever, and he ended his thing. So he's not even the president. He's the person who wants to be the president. And he said, I think the biggest threat to the world and the nation is nuclear proliferation. And before they got done, Bush said, I agree with that. So you had the sitting president of the United States. How is it that there's something very strange going on here, that it's all about climate. That's the threat. We never talk about $22 trillion in debt, which presumably that has to be paid some point in the future. So that could have some kind of crazy drag on the country in the future. And then everybody's just forgotten about nuclear weapons. Like, oh, yeah, that's not a problem at all. I would say the chances of having a horrible event in the next 30, 50, 75 years, nuclear proliferation would be, or a nuclear event as a result of nuclear proliferation is much more likely. I don't know how likely. It may be that it's not all that likely, but it's much more likely than the fact that we're all going to go extinct in the next 60 years and no one's going to be able to drink water or anything along those lines. But they're not giving out any Nobel Peace Prizes to people talking about nuclear proliferation.
Well, the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientist says that humanity now faces two simultaneous existential threats. One being nuclear weapons, the other being climate change, and we are 2 minutes till midnight.
By the
We're
way,
almost
that
there
clock means nothing. Do people realize that? The clock is a made-up, phony thing. Hey, people look at that and they go, oh, we're only 2 minutes away. From what? Why are we 2 and not 3 minutes away? What's the difference between 7 minutes away You know what the difference is? Hey, Obama got elected. Let's push it back 10 minutes. Oh, he's
We feel better.
He's a peaceful person. We're further away. Oh, Donald Trump got elected. We're 22 seconds. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it was used in the beginning as a way to kind of get press and let people know there was a nuclear problem. But now they have to jump in, and the nukes become the sidecar to the climate change with the atomic scientists so they can get somebody to run their stupid story. That's what that's about. But, you have people who go for so long, like, oh, no, that clock's telling the truth. But based on what? What is the clock based on?
I'm scared.
Yeah, feeling.
I mean, what are the metrics that are used to say that we're 2 minutes away?
And
I guarantee you, if Biden beats Trump or a Democrat beats Trump, if Trump loses to a Democrat, I want somebody to write this down and remember this.
Okay.
I want to check the atomic clock, the atomic nuke scientist clock. 1 week later, I guarantee you it moves back at least 5 minutes because it's all based on what is your worldview, what are your politics, and I think this politician is more likely. It's got nothing. It's not based anything. Climate change isn't even in the arena when it comes to existential threats next to nuclear proliferation, and nobody talks about it. I will bet you. I haven't watched the debate so far. But I'll bet you there hasn't been one nuclear proliferation question yet. And I would be willing to bet that we will get through all of these debates. We will get through 3 presidential debates and 1 vice presidential debate. And maybe once. I'm just covering myself there. I really believe that we'll get through all of these debates and nuclear proliferation will not come up once. But I bet you bullying will. And it's very important that we attack the real problems in this country. All right, another great conversation that you were not privy to. But I will tell you in the end, my friend Tim Andrews blamed Jeff Bezos for the fact that he doesn't change his diet and has to run out of here very quickly at noon.
Sometimes I have to blame Bezos because he shut down that Whole Foods.
Oh, yeah, it's his fault
at Briarcliff and La Vista.
You don't change your diet.
And now every time I drive by it, it's just all graffiti and an empty building, and I know that I have to go 5 miles on the other side.
This guy goes and he orders fast food at the drive-thru and doesn't know. If he eats it in the car, he doesn't know if he can make it home. And yet he still does this. He does not change his diet.
It's a fun contest.
Well, if you see it that way.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
The difference, and see, I have a problem in this. I have a gallbladder. It works.
Yeah.
You do not. But I have a very narrow palate. I would eat a lot better, and maybe I should endeavor to train myself to like certain foods. I have a very narrow palate. You're not like that. You actually like a lot of good foods. So why not just change your diet and not have these emergencies 3 times a week? Wouldn't it?
Because I'm hungry and you can't go. You got to go sit down and wait. And
isn't there any kind of medicine that you can take to help with the lack of gallbladder?
Yeah.
No, not really. You just have to eat properly.
That's all.
What
it
does
takes.
the gallbladder do?
Hey, it keeps the bile and
it regulates bile.
Throws more bile in.
Can't you take some sort of microchip that regulates bile?
No, your liver, without your gallbladder, your liver dumps your bile into your intestines.
That was her way of saying, we can send a man to the moon.
Yeah,
Come on.
Get a fake gallbladder.
Let's get a sack.
Come on, I got solutions here.
Just get a sack that you carry, like a fanny pack full of bile. Just change your diet. just change your diet.
Fanny pack full of bile.
All right. Our buddy Eric Erickson is doing a live show from Kirby G's. We've done a couple of shows from there. Kirby G's down in McDonough. So it's going to be live from 4 to 6 if you're down in the area.
Love going down to Kirby G's.
Or if you're not in the area, take off now.
Yes.
Amazing milkshakes. If you get a chance, drink
burgers too.
Good burgers. They're incredible. Good
See,
people.
I'm trying to get this guy to a healthy diet, and all you're doing is putting stuff in his head. Let me tell you what's going to happen. In a few minutes, he's going to leave here. He's going to run out of here.
No.
Very quickly. No. You're going to run.
I'm going to Matthews.
We don't have a podcast 30.
I'm going to Matthews and Tucker. They have a good bathroom.
What? Why don't you just go to the bathroom here? There's one down here that's
shy.
You should create a Facebook group called like Gallbladder Buddies. And
There'd only be women
and
me.
and you tell them where the best bathrooms are. You have like a working map, and you have the best bathrooms at any place.
Or you can stop at each other's homes. Like, hey, you understand. Yeah, come on in.
Autumn doesn't know that I already have that in my head, and I don't want to share it because I don't want them messed up. I know where all the clean bathrooms are between here and
We have
Tucker.
clean bathrooms here.
Well, I don't really have to go now. I just know that it's going to happen.
Oh.
Well, and that back bathroom that you always use occasionally has that petting zoo smell sometimes.
Well, of course it does, because Clark Howard employs 900 people in that hallway, and so you can't. I mean, I don't know how I don't know. What
And that pony really doesn't know how to work
somebody's
the bathroom,
somebody has a. What do you call it? A security dog or no? Security. What is it called? What are the ponies? Would it make you feel good?
A support animal.
Support. Yeah.
A support pony.
Support pony.
I can't go to the bathroom without my support animal watching me.
Is there something else I'm supposed to talk about or say?
Tomorrow, again, the impeachment hearings are going to be going on. So on 95.5 FM, you'll have the Von Haessler Doctrine.
And all regular programming.
And
unless all hell breaks loose.
That's right.
You know, it actually becomes real news.
I'm going to walk in there and start screaming.
That would be awesome.
It would be.
If he showed up pouting.
Witch hunt.
Showed up with a bullhorn and a whole bunch of people.
I demand an end to this travesty of justice. This is a witch hunt.
Bunch of people behind him screaming it out.
I'm out of order. You're out of order, Adam Schiff. Shifty Schiff.
So if you want to hear the impeachment hearings, we'll have it on AM 750, WSBRadio.com, and the WSB Radio
Who's
app.
up next? That ambassador that he fired, Marie Yavanana. Are you people following the story? I'm getting blank.
No. I don't remember her name, but she has a Ukrainian name.
Yeah, she was the ambassador, and I don't blame her. She got ticked off. She's supposed to be the ambassador of Ukraine, and Rudy Giuliani's running around doing all of his stuff for God knows why.
Just ignore that, really. We've got good things. What's going on with Joe Biden? Let's get you involved. By the way, my podcast is just going to be great.
Oh, is that real? He said he was going to do the podcast for the impeachment.
Yes, I've lined up some great guests. We're going to be, it's called What the Heck? It's called What the Heck.
He's got Paul McCartney on it.
First one's
Giuliani. Giuliani's going to be interviewing Paul McCartney.
So what is it like being a Beatle?
Is that your first question?
Yes.
That'll be new for him.
What have you been up to since?
Do you think it's possible right now to land an interview with Paul McCartney and ask him a question that's relevant, that's not goofy, just for the purposes of being weird, but to ask is it possible to ask Paul McCartney a question in an interview that he's never heard before? You think it is?
I could do it.
But I mean, it's a relevant question to his life and his career.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Because the guy's been being interviewed constantly since 1963.
How do you do it, Paul? How do you do it?
Well, it's like it's always been.
Wow. Thank you so much.
All right. There's no podcast 30 because Eric has to fly to a wedding. And I apologize for that. But we will be back on Monday. Oh, we'll be back tomorrow. What am I talking about? We'll be back tomorrow. All great material. You're going to love it. And you're all invited. But if you can't make it, no, you better be there, or else you'll be thrown out of the Doctrinaire Club. We're going to do it all again tomorrow. You'll be there. Until then, continue on the journey. Don't piss off the genie.